Hey everybody, getting ready to do another stream. Doing pixel art. More for Amazion's 100, sorry. So more map art for Johnny Manjuro's game. And then probably do some GB Studio stuff of my own games. Maybe get back into the Dope Wars game or Source Hack or something else. We'll just have to see how I'm feeling. It might be a shorter stream, maybe just 3 or 4 hours. Depends how hungry I get. I did eat a couple of vegetables beforehand, so that should tide me over for a bit. But I haven't had like a full meal yet. I woke up at like 10:30 or something p.m. So yeah, still morning for me. It's 2:45 my time. So, anyways. There's an ad starting in like 30 seconds, and then after that we'll jump into Aseprite. Cryptic, welcome in. How you doing? Everyone should check out Cryptic, by the way. Awesome game dev and artist. What are you up to, Cryptic? Work plus studying architecture. Architecture for programming, I take it? Like engineering architecture? Well, I guess that could be either. Yeah, for programming. Architecting code. That's cool. That's something that's well, first of all, I love both architectures. I love structures as well as coding structures. Stuck on dev stuff also. Ah, I see. Yeah, like I'm a big fan of like Frank Lloyd Wright as far as architects go, but I'm also, you know, a fan of learning how to code properly. It's funny though, I didn't learn that until I hit a wall in my game Retro Spaceball. So that's kind of funny to me. I just, you know, I'm a game designer first and foremost and an artist, and making like good code was always kind of like, well, it works, you know, and then it stopped compiling because it was like such spaghetti code. It's kind of funny how that works. But yeah, we should be back from the ads here. And here we are in Aseprite. I'm just opening up the stuff that I've been working on here. So I made Zone 3 and Zone 2 and Zone 1. So I'll just open up all of these so we can see everything. Oh, it's probably giving me this. Oh, I see. I was in Aseprite, yeah. Alright, so we've got Zone 1, that's the PNG. So this is what Zone 2 looks like. And then Zone 3, I don't know why it didn't open Zone 2, but there it is. I've always wanted to be an architect, but school was never an option for me until now, so I'm getting prepared. Oh, so you're talking about architecture as far as building structures rather than building computer architecture? It's funny because I know that you're into making games and art, so... But yeah, like architecture, I never studied architecture, but when I was like building architecture, when I was young, I very much wanted to be an architect. An architect came to my school, like someone's dad or something, and showed us these really fantastic like CG images. Well, I guess they weren't really that fantastic, but to me they were. And he was talking about how they use software very much like what was used to make Reboot, and I was watching Reboot at the time, so I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. And I wanted to be like a 3D artist and make you know, new 3D art. It was new at the time, like the Jetsons movie had just come out, and like that had 3D animation in it, and yeah, I was still pretty young. This was like first grade, I want to say, maybe kindergarten. I think no, it was first grade probably. And yeah, I think it was my second year of first grade. I took first grade twice. Anyways, never did go that road. From what I understand, it's a really difficult competitive industry as far as like getting a job goes. One of my friends went to school and studied architecture, and as far as I know, she doesn't do it for work. I could be wrong. I haven't spoken to her in a long time. But yeah, she was really smart, so I'm not sure what held her back. It could have just been like, you know, networking stuff, because she lived out in the country and architects are mostly in the city. However, yeah, like with 3D modeling and like making, like for example, like VR chat worlds, architecture is all of a sudden accessible, right? And cheap, because all you gotta do is spend some time to make the stuff in Blender or whatever. Making it look good is the hard part, right? So that comes down to studying, you know, other architects and their work and stuff. But there's some really cool stuff out there. Like, the House on the Rock. I don't know if you've heard of this. In Wisconsin. So yeah. Arc visualization is the target job, so heavily 3D modeling materials. Yeah, like I can do that kind of stuff, but I feel like those jobs is actually, it comes down to rendering more than 3D modeling and materials. Like just about anyone can do the 3D modeling these days. The materials is a little bit tougher, but if you have some money and you invest in Substance and you spend some time learning that, you can make things look really realistic. But rendering, that's like a whole nother beast, right? And a lot of people don't have the technology to support that path. It's an expensive route, because you constantly need to update your system to have the best possible stuff, unless you're using someone else's system to render. I mean, back in the day, they used to network systems together to do renderings. And I imagine at the higher end of stuff, they're still doing that, but things are becoming more and more capable. Anyways, the guy who made this house was a protege of Frank Lloyd Wright. That name is so hard for me to say. And he made this insane house on a rock called House on the Rock, and it's like also a museum in Wisconsin. I went when I was a kid, so I don't know what it's like now. This part didn't exist yet. I think this was part of the Japanese garden. Yeah, I didn't get to see any of the Japanese garden because that was made after I went. Using Unreal Engine to render, super useful tool. Yeah, I mean, if you're planning on making interactive stuff, I may have shown you this. I show a lot of people this. It's really cool. This is the Infinity Room. It actually juts out onto the edge of the mountain. This is what it looks like. There's like a little hole where you can look, and it's like jutting out over. There's probably a better image of it jutting out. This is off the edge of it. Yeah, the whole structure is really weird looking. This is the roof of that Infinity Room. I don't know why there's not a better picture of it just sticking out. Stephanie Knight, stunning building. Yeah, this building is insane. That, I think, is part of the Japanese garden. I don't know. But yeah, there's like these really weird exhibits inside the building. And clearly some cool stuff outside the building. Really insane interiors that just completely shift. There's like this old school downtown area inside the basement. And it looks like you're outside in a downtown area at night, but you're inside a building. It's really weird. There's also like a massive carousel. Here it is, yeah. It's like a 3-story carousel. Fucking crazy. And it works. It like spins and shit. I can't believe I'm not seeing a picture of the Infinity Room exterior. Here it is. I was in the wrong spot. So yeah, it sticks out of the building, like way off this cliff. And there's a picture with people. My mom actually had this on a magnet, like a panoramic view of it on a magnet. But yeah. But yeah, Frank Lloyd Wright, I think, is my favorite. That's in Wisconsin, in the States. Not too far from Madison, I think. Maybe like an hour away from Madison or something like that. It's a pretty cool area, actually. There is a whole lot of like glacial terrain. Like the glaciers made these like crazy rugged terrains, right? There's no glaciers there anymore, but it carved out these crazy mountains and stuff. I hear his name all the time. Yeah, you should look up his stuff. He spent a lot of time in Chicago and Phoenix, which is kind of cool because I lived in both those areas. But he also had buildings like kind of all over the country. Because he was a very prolific and very celebrity architect. Probably the most celebrity architect ever. Other than maybe some of the ancient architects that are known. I don't really know any of them, though, because that's ancient. It's funny how a building does not look like a building for what's inside of it. How that building does not look built for what's inside of it. So it's a massive structure. What you can see is only little bits at a time, and I think it was made that way, which is something that Frank Lloyd Wright also does. He works with the land and the landscape in making the structure. So when you come at it at any angle, it's like a piece of art being exposed to you. And like as you take angles and take turns around the property, like you see different things unfold in front of you, and it's kind of made like that rather than just being like a box. It's usually like this box from this angle, this box from that angle, from the top it's like this, from this side it's like that, and then he's got like motifs that tie things together, and usually there's some type of theme that is like throughout the structure. Really cool stuff. But yeah, Cryptic, if you're getting into architectural visualization and interactivity stuff, I think VR chat is actually a pretty cool place to be, although that's Unity, so but it's cool because you can actually invite your friends over, and all they need to do is download either the app on their phone or the game on PC, and you don't need VR to use VR chat. I think that's commonly overlooked. But like, yeah, I made a little campfire scene, and I invited Lot Lizard and Rat Pack to it, and they got to see the little, you know, 3D world that I made. It was, you know, it's like the first thing I ever did, so it was just starting out, but it was cool. So this is the World 3, or Zone 3. We're gonna work on Zone 4. So I'm just gonna open the project here. And here is Zone 4, labeled Zone 4. We'll go into Assets, grab Zone 4, drag it into Aseprite. And now we've got Zone 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the tiles from this first one. It's a pretty easy way to start. Make a new layer. Oh, I was on the wrong layer. So we're going to want to be on this top layer. But yeah, as far as architecture goes, I have like dreams about architecture, and it's always kind of been this way ever since I was young, and even still to this day. Like just yesterday I had a dream about architecture. Or was that today? Yeah, that was today. I was literally in this like really big, it was almost like Backrooms-esque like level design, but it was very like Doom, but it was also Call of Duty. It was a mix of like what I've been exposing myself to, basically. I watched some Doom documentary about the original Doom right before bed, and so that was in my head. And also I was watching like Doom Builder stuff. I love thinking about modding Doom and not actually doing it. Like, don't get me wrong, I've done some minor stuff with the tools, and I know how to use the tools, but I've never actually finished a mod for it. And a lot of times just thinking about it and learning about it is enough for me to be like, okay, well, I'm not gonna actually do that. So this one is mirrored instead of rotated, so I'll probably stick with that. I don't know. If I have ones that are mirrored and ones that are rotated, it's not that big of a deal. Whatever looks good in the end is what I'm shooting for. Architecture is one of those reasons I love liminal spaces. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that, what was that meme that was going around where it was like, what goes in this space? And then like people would put a whole bunch of different like video game stuff in that space. I don't know if you saw that one. Might be able to find it. Yeah, there's a few of them apparently. this kind of stuff, like this. What would you do with this space? They put video game stuff there. Some AI shit. Some of these are pretty good. The best ones are where they put like video game stuff in there, but it's kind of hard to find the memes. But yeah, here's a SpongeBob one. I don't know. I think that stuff's funny. But yeah, like every once in a while, oh, and also, I watch a lot of these videos on YouTube, which I should probably show you as well. I won't show you the whole thing. I don't even know how to find it. This guy, and there's a bunch of these guys. This guy, he's clearly gotten rich from doing this just as a YouTube channel because he's got like 4 million subs. But he just goes around and people will be like trying to sell these fucking $1 million homes, and he's like gets offered tours. And then like this one's awesome. Massive door opens. And it's just like crazy cool shit. So this little sculpture, I actually made something like that when I was in college for this architectural piece that I was doing, which is kind of cool. Mine was chrome though, but it was two like tentacle spiral things, just like that. But yeah, I love this stuff because it's great for ideas for virtual reality. It's, as a human, it kind of sucks because you and I will never be able to afford this shit, and even if we did, the taxes would fucking kill us, right? Like this is a wine cellar. Video games and architecture go so well together. Yeah. So I would not want to live in that shit even if I could afford it. Like honestly, it would be scary to live in a place this big because you could get lost, right? This is like an office. The fucking kitchen. Look at how many ovens are in the fucking kitchen. There's like 4 ovens lined up, like expensive ass ovens lined up next to each other. This is the whole house, right? It's on top of a fucking Hollywood hill. Look at the fucking swimming pool. That would be cool to have. Just do laps. So beautiful though. There is more soul in my office than that house. You gotta admit, it's kind of cool architecture though. Like, as far as like wanting to live in a place like that, it's kind of ridiculous, right? Like, even if you were a billionaire, multi-billionaire, like, why would you need a home like this, right? It's too much. But in virtual spaces, this is totally doable, right? If you're looking for a place to hang out with your friends in VR, you don't have to worry about expenses, about fucking taxes, and like having someone clean up after you, or like take care of the place because it's so big that you don't even see every room of the house every month. Like, I mean, you can just take one room from here and put this into VR chat, and it'll be cool, you know? I mean, I'm not saying like people will flock to it or anything like that. You kind of need friends. Look at the server room. How cool would it be to have your own network also? Sorry, I'm just really not a fan of that minimalistic style. See, I actually enjoy the minimalistic style. If I had money, I would buy or build Victorian mansion. Oh, that's cool. I actually lived in a Victorian mansion at one point. It was converted into apartments though. So there was like 4 different like residences in the building. And then I was like a 5th that happened to be living in the attic of one of the other ones. So I was living in the attic of this this Victorian style building. And it was like Victorian era. It wasn't super Victorian like some of the neighbors, but it was in the historical neighborhood with all of the Victorian houses. So it was Victorian era, but not like quintessential like circular turrets or anything like that, spires or anything like that. But it was pretty cool. I wonder if there's a way to get paid to make personal VR worlds. There absolutely is. In VR chat, you can get paid to make worlds in VR. I don't think it pays a whole lot. It really depends on who you know. And it's really kind of hard to make a whole bunch of friends in VR chat. And VR chat's not the only place to do it, but it's the biggest right now. And it's mostly a very like furry and like gender fluid kind of, I don't know. I'm not saying that I don't get along with those people. I use VR chat all the time, but there's a lot of people there that are like of those like minorities, if you call it that, I guess. I don't know, like they're kind of the majority there is what I'm getting at. They're not really a minority in VR chat, right? Like there is a lot of trans people, a lot of furries, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's absolutely fine. But that is the market there. If you're talking about selling avatars, you're probably making furry avatars, or like a lot of anime avatars and stuff like that. Pink stuff too was all over the place when I check out. Yeah, there's a lot of what do they call it? Erotic role play. There's a lot of erotic role play there, and kink stuff. Yeah, so it's definitely kind of niche outside of VR chat, but in VR chat that's the majority. Why a mainframe? Yeah, I don't know why they would need that, but I mean it's a big house. It would be cool to have a network that was like massive, but like why would you need that unless you had a company working in the house, which would kind of make it more of a headquarters than a house, which is probably what I would do with something like this if I had it for real. The fuck is that on the wall? Wretched strapped a mat to the wall. Yeah, I mean there's a lot of weird stuff on the walls here. They had that moss wall, which was kind of cool. But like, how do you keep that alive? You gotta like spray it every week or so. It's like they have more space than they know what to do with. So much empty space, empty walls. Yeah, that's true. I'm fine with that stuff, although I don't partake in it. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same way. Like some of Rat Pack's friends are like more in that direction, and it definitely gets pretty crazy in like private worlds in VR chat. But for the most part, the public worlds are crazy too. I don't know. It's all the cool people are hanging out in private worlds, but a lot of them kind of form their own niches that way, so you end up with a lot of like very niche subject matter in the private worlds. Yeah, I don't really know all that much about it. I've only played with it for a bit, and I actually haven't played with it in a couple months now. But I was really into it for a bit. Because he's got like a virtual golf course inside. That's still like an outdoor party space. The nightclub. It has its own nightclub. And I've been to nightclubs that are smaller than that. Like, seriously. The guest bedroom suites. The primary bedroom suite. So like each bedroom has its own like house basically. Look at this shit. An actual putting course on the roof, of course. The deck. This is on the roof, obviously. Pretty cool roof though. I don't know what it does with all the water. It must have like a drain system underneath. There's another one that's really cool in Colorado. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. I don't know. Anyways, I love watching that shit just for like ideas of what to do in like virtual reality or in Blender. Just and not even like I'm gonna make this massive thing. Like you could just take one room or even just one piece of furniture and like get ideas from that. Oh, we got an ad. I'll get back to reading chat after the ad. Sorry. Not sure if I rotated that or yeah, I must have mirrored it. I've never actually played this level. I've only gotten to level 3. Alright, we should be back from the ads. I'll wait a couple seconds just to be sure. Give me a chance to sip my tea. Oh, you have a sound cue for ads? Yeah. I have one that comes in when the ad starts and one that comes in when it ends, but I also have one 5 minutes beforehand that is just like a chime that lets me know that there's an ad coming up. That way I can kind of remember. I kind of sometimes I wonder if 5 minutes is too much, because then it's enough time for me to forget. Maybe bring it down to 3 or 2 even. I don't know. But yeah, I'm kind of used to it being 5, so like if I remember, then yeah. Anyways, we're back from the ads. Let me catch up on chat. Stephanie said, wife and I run 2 companies just starting up, and we talked about getting a mainframe. Oh, cool. I mean, if you plan to use the network from other places, I feel like that could be useful, right? Like if you were going to like log on to your own mainframe from another place, like then you could have all of your stuff at home and access it as you need it or whatever. But yeah, I would, if I had a network, I would probably just use it for games, right? Ah, damn, even the bowling alley they removed all character from. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely that minimalistic style. A lot of the newer architecture is the modern architecture. There's some really cool stuff that isn't like that, though. Like a lot of nature-oriented ones, like really fancy homes in like I don't even know, some South Asian countries will have like it'll look kind of minimalistic from the outside, but then from the inside it'll be like completely naturalistic, where like you can't tell when you're inside or outside kind of thing. I really like that stuff. Your wife's primary place they play concerts was smaller than that. Yeah, I mean that was a pretty big little like party area, especially for being LA or Hollywood. Just like a small computer and CLL and call it the mainframe. Yeah, I got you. It would be cool to have one that looks like an old school mainframe. Maybe like have some like tapes that spin just because just because. Oops, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I want either. Why can't I just do what I want? There we go. Doesn't have the piece that I'm looking for. This is the piece I'm looking for. I'll just color it this color for now. We're gonna make it blue later. I have seen some stunning places throughout the world and glad to see a return to that. A lot of spaces are just devoid of anything nice to look at. Flat concrete everywhere. It saddens me. Yeah, that like brutalist architecture. Like, it's interesting, but I couldn't imagine living there, you know? But honestly, my place is pretty minimalistic as far as I haven't really decorated it, because I haven't spent any money decorating. I have one couch, and that's it. that's the entirety of my furniture. Like, I just haven't spent the money. I spent money on a fence. It's got a fence. I don't know if that counts or anything. Most people have fences. I split with the neighbor. And yeah, for sure, old spinning wheels, mainframes could be nice. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it'd be a little loud, so maybe like a switch to turn it on or off. But like, that'd be so cool to have just like, you hit a button and it's like, and it starts like whirring and things are spinning and there's lights blinking for no reason. I'm not living that style either. I'm saving every penny. Yeah. Like, I used to live in a place that was pretty well decorated before I moved in. It was my grandma's place, so like it was really eclectic and kind of cool. There was a lot of like Southwestern theme, which was interesting. I always enjoyed the Southwest, but this was in the Midwest, so it was kind of out of place. But it was kind of cool too. It was in the woods, and like someone planted yuccas at one point, and yuccas are like really invasive. It's like they're made to live in the desert, but they'll live anywhere. So like the yuccas kind of took over, and we had to like keep chopping them back, and the root systems are like vast and underground, and we had like these flagstones, so it was just a pain in the ass to take care of. But yeah, the insides had like just the most eclectic stuff. There would be like these stone cats that I used to position in different parts of the house, and then like a 70s style couch set, so like 3 different couches that were like this like orange and brown striped pattern that were like really low to the ground. It had indoor balconies and outdoor balconies, which is really cool, and like really high ceilings in the main room, but like the floor was like plywood. It was never fully furnished. It was kind of a cool spot to live in, to be honest. At one point I painted a lot of it. My mom painted a lot of it at one point, so like we tried to keep up with the place, but eventually it got torn down, sadly. But I lived there for like over 11 years. The silly part is Louise and I have the skills to actually make one that works. We thought about it, but would likely take a lot of time. I gotcha. You know what I would love to get into, and this is kind of a tangent for sure, but I would love to make arcade cabinets. I think that would be cool. Like, part of me wants to just like invest in like all of the tools and the hardware you would need to actually make something like that. What happened to this? Why is this like that? What happened here? Did I grab the wrong thing? Oh, I see. But I feel like if I was gonna do that, a starting point would be like making the control board, right? Which would be like hard and expensive in itself. Pricey hobby would be so cool. Yeah. Have your game running on actual hardware. Yeah, absolutely. So the idea came to me like, wouldn't it be cool to have a arcade machine that you could bring to like conventions and stuff? This was before COVID. And even like leave at an arcade, right? Have them watch over it. Because a lot of times they'll allow that, right? If you own an arcade machine and you're friends with the arcade owner, they'll let you stash your machine there because it helps bring people into their bar, right? And they'll even like, you know, do their best to watch over it. You know, obviously you'll have to kind of maintain it and it'll probably get some damage, but it could be worth it, especially if you made it yourself, right? But yeah, it would be kind of pricey. There's no doubt about that. I do think that like after you had all of the hardware to do it, the price would be then just, you know, the materials and the time, and then you could actually do it for a living. There was someone not far from where I used to drive near their house in my commute that did just that. They made custom arcade machines from their home and sold them as a hobby, but they did it. And the way that I found them was that they were looking for a apprentice. They were looking for someone to do like a paid apprenticeship to come to their house and help them build these machines. And I actually applied for it, but I didn't get the job. Oh yeah, but there's a lot of price-friendly services that have come up lately. Also, he did tour a yacht that was more my speed. Oh yeah, that same guy. Let me pull that up. $100 million yacht. Could you imagine owning a yacht? Oh wow. Yeah, I like all the wood. Look how fancy that wood is. That is some really expensive wood. These ones don't look as fancy, but these ones and these ones look pretty fucking fancy. Like the tops look fancy, but these pieces of wood aren't as nice. But I guess they can't all be amazing when you're using that much wood. Look at that, the walnut table. Yeah, I'm a big fan of wood. I feel like this unfinished stuff is just asking for damage though, right? Like the finished stuff is easier to take care of. Yeah, you really have to like take good care of unfinished wood. Like, I don't know. I mean, any wood is easily damaged, right? I couldn't imagine owning a yacht. Like Gabe from Valve owns a fucking yacht. Probably not at Tools, this one. That outdoor seating area is fucking crazy. That's kind of a weird spot for a sofa, I'm not gonna lie. Like right in front of the TV. So you can watch the sofa as you watch TV, or you can watch people that aren't watching the TV. We need more wood. See the overall shot. Is that at the end or the beginning? Oh wow. Yeah, that's a big fucking yacht. Look at the size of that thing. I couldn't even afford that little boat that he was on. Same, I have sailed a 30-foot boat once, but that was it. Like, it is just an old boat. That's so crazy. Like, that shit looks like the fucking Titanic to me. A fucking yacht. That's someone's, like, house, basically. Well, I guess that would be like a personal cruise ship, right? You get all your friends and family and maybe some coworkers or whatever from your company, and you take them on a cruise. The baby Titanic. I mean, it's not even that baby. The Titanic wasn't all that big. No, I mean, the Titanic was a bit bigger. I think it had like 4 of these things, right? But it's not that much of a baby. It's more like a teenage Titanic. Most annoying thing with yachts that big, you need a crew to sail them. I would never get along with them. Honestly, you wouldn't even be doing the sailing if you had a boat this big. You'd just be telling people where you want to go and talking to the captain saying like, hey, can we make it here? And he'd be like, there's a storm over there. We need to go this way. Like, make it so. But yeah, like just the maintenance alone on something like this would completely bankrupt me. Like just a month of maintenance would be enough to just all of my money gone. Pretty cool though. I love looking at that stuff mostly because like I don't have like this drive to become that type of thing. Like some people will be like, I want to live there, I want that to be mine. Like they'll get that way about like fancy homes or even fancy cars. Be like, one day I'm gonna own a Ferrari kind of thing. Like John Carmack kind of mentality. But I don't really get that way. I'm perfectly happy with my car until it breaks, and then I'm perfectly happy getting something that's the same price. It states you can charter it for 50,000. Oh, sorry, 500,000 a week. Yeah, 500,000 for a week, you know. I don't think I could afford that. Maybe a day? How much does a day cost? I could maybe afford a day, but that would be my entire bank account, everything that I own. I'd have to sell my house. But yeah, I'm not the type of person to get jealous of that kind of stuff, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And the fact that we can make that stuff even interactively in virtual worlds is way, way good enough for me. Like, that's just, it's such a cool idea to be like, I don't even need to own a yacht like that. I could make a yacht like that. And, you know, instead of having to maintain it and hire a crew, I could just have it in a virtual space where nothing bad could happen to it, and it'll always be pristine. I don't have to clean it. I don't have to pay someone to clean it. I could go there whenever I want and not have to worry about safe harbors and maintenance and all the fucking shit that comes with having a boat. Could never, yeah. But you could make something and enjoy that, like in 3D. And like, honestly, I think that in, you know, sometime in the future, probably not anytime soon, there will be a lot more emphasis on like VR spaces, like VR gatherings, VR, you know, outings and stuff like that, VR meetups and shit. I think that would be cool. Like streaming right now is pretty popular, right? But wouldn't it be cool to just like host a event at like a virtual event instead, and just like have everyone that is on the stream just like pop into the virtual event kind of thing? Like, I think that would be cool. And we can do that stuff. It's just that most people don't have that technology available to them. It's kind of expensive, niche stuff, right? So like having a VR headset or having full body tracking and stuff like that is pretty niche. People do it for sure, but a lot of people I don't know, they kind of, I feel like people like push out other people, and it becomes kind of elitist in a way and just more expensive. And it's like any other hobby where like people turn it into a statement, and like, I don't know. Just looking at the damn thing, they rediscovered sailboats, but for yachts. Yurts? Is there a difference between a yurt and a yacht? Isn't a yurt like a home, like a house? I don't even know. I think it's just a spelling error. Nope, I just can't spell. Okay, alright. That's what I thought. I wasn't sure though. I was like, wait a second, what's a yurt? No worries, I can't spell either. Man, I should just be using the other file, the one that's PNG. That'll make it a lot easier. I don't have to worry about fucking layers. But, oh, the wrong button. I already have that one. I want this one. But yeah, like I used to love throwing parties, like back when I lived at that my grandma's cottage, right? Because it was big, it was in the woods, it was on a lake. It was I mean, it wasn't fully furnished, which kind of made it better, because then like if things got broken or whatever, or like there's someone spilled or whatever, it wasn't as big of a deal, because you didn't have like fancy carpeting, fancy walls, or if things went wrong, it was like, oh shit, well that sucks, I guess we gotta like clean that or fix that or whatever. But it wasn't the end of the world. I remember one time someone got mustard all over the fucking couch and the wall, and it definitely stained the couch and the wall, but like, it's like, what are you gonna do? Clean it up and look at the stain for the rest of its existence. One time someone took the fire extinguisher from the boat and sprayed it in the house. That was pretty fucking crazy. What happened here? But I guess the point that I'm getting at is that if, you know, like, partying didn't have all those downsides, you know, people getting violent, people doing things that they shouldn't be doing, people doing drugs in the bathroom or whatever, you know, like all the, you know, driving home drunk, like all the things that, all the bad shit that comes with throwing parties, you don't have to deal with in a virtual space, right? You don't like someone, you can kick them out and they're not going to fight you about it. You just kick them out, you know what I mean? And then, you know, if someone's going to like do drugs, they're not doing it at your house, you know? If someone's going to get too drunk, get sloppy drunk, they're going to be at their own house getting sloppy drunk, you know? I mean, obviously there's still like the whole social interaction thing where things could go, you know, socially sideways or whatever, but you've got moderation tools where in real life sometimes you just have to either put up with someone's bullshit or like risk fighting them over it or whatever, you know. I feel like it would like if this was more mainstream, like the idea of like virtual spaces, I feel like it would be a much better atmosphere for like that kind of stuff. For concerts, for, you know, just about everything I feel like could be done. I mean, some things would probably be better in real life, for sure. But then you gotta, you know, deal with all the stuff that comes with real life, which, you know, some people are better at dealing with than others. That's so utopian and dystopian at the same time. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying we should like live virtually, like all of our existence should be virtual, but I think there is a good like use case for that, you know, like, I don't know. First of all, we could all meet even though we're in different places, right? We could all hang out even though we're in different countries, different regions, different states, whatever, right? Second of all, like, you don't have to worry about like how you look, because you could just have like an avatar or whatever, right? So like a lot of the social barriers are kind of out of the way. Kind of gave me an idea I'll never make. I have seen Ready Player One. Yeah, I mean, like, there's some cool ideas about the metaverse, right? But the metaverse came from a dystopian novel, right? The term itself came from a dystopian novel. Not everything about that would be cool, but parts of it would be pretty cool. There will always be, in my eyes, there should always be a need to go out into the real world. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't really go out that much, you know? And it's not because, like, it's impossible for me. It's totally possible for me. It just isn't that appealing to me, to be honest, right? I don't really like dealing with traffic or like even driving, to be honest, right? Like some people really like driving. I don't really like driving. It's kind of dangerous. I've been in too many car accidents to really enjoy it. Like some people like going to like bars and drinking and stuff. I don't drink anymore. I've been drugged too many times. I don't really like going to bars because I know that shitty things can happen at bars. Like, I like music, but I don't really go to concerts anymore. I'm trying to like protect my hearing these days. Going to a concert to wear earplugs seems kind of weird. Like, arcades are cool. I love arcades, but most of them are barcades now. Most of them are more expensive than they need to be. They can basically only stay afloat by selling liquor, so they over liquor people. They overserve over liquor. So like, I don't know, there's so much like negative stuff that comes with going out in the real world. And no, I'm not saying all of it goes away with virtual spaces, but some of it does. But I kind of want to hear your idea, Cryptic, especially since it'll never happen. Those are the best ideas to share, right? Because you never know, maybe someone else could make it happen, or with combined powers, it can be done. But I did actually enjoy Ready Player One, both the movie and the book. It did have dystopian qualities to it, no doubt, with IOI mainly. But the message in the end was a good one, where he decides that, like, what, every Wednesday the Oasis would be closed, I think is what he said in the movie. I don't remember how the book ended. But yeah. Funny, I had the exact opposite experience. The web is where all the nasty experiences have been for me. I had one guy invade my space, my personal space, at a bar. Like at a bar in VR chat. Yeah, I have a feeling that most people who drop into VR chat expecting it to be like a good experience is probably going to have a bad experience. I honestly feel like if you have friends that use VR chat, you're going to have a much better experience because they can like kind of like ease you into the world. Whereas if you just like, you know, throw on your headset and drop into a public world, someone is going to troll you or make you feel not good. It's mostly young people who don't fully understand how social experiences work. People say things because they feel like it's anonymous. People say things because they feel like it's online and it can't do any real damage or anything like that. So there's like a lot of room for people to be nasty. Oh no, sorry, IRL, that was the only bad experience I think I had. Oh, I got you. I see what you're saying. So yeah, I've had many bad experiences in public. Probably because I exposed myself to them. But yeah, it all depends on, you know, where you are and who you're with. And if, like, I used to just be totally, like, open to any experience, basically. I would just go out on my own, go to, like, 3-day camping festivals on my own and stuff like that, and just be, like, without any support system, without any, anyone to call or anyone to ask for help, just, like, make new friends, like, on the spot. Like, I used to be that way. And, the more I did that, the more I realized, like, that's not a good way to do things. Like, you can have some really bad experiences that way. Game idea. You're locked in at home and everything is decaying and near unlivable. In order to get paid to get food or living upgrades, you must earn social credits. You do this by entering VR spaces where you are mandated to have fun and talk to people. This VR world is a sharp contrast to your living arrangement. You build up credits and friendships to get better, higher class worlds where you get more credits. Interesting. Yeah, that sounds like a social experiment. And Ready Player One was good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Oh no, sorry. Oh, I read that one. But never was much of a club lady. Yeah, I never really was either. I went to a lot of concerts. I was really into live music and local music, and I went to a lot of festivals. I was definitely more into festivals than clubs, but I have been to some clubs, and they weren't all bad experiences, but I don't know. There's a lot of fakeness that happens in the scene or the scenes, right? A lot of people like pretending to be something they're not, pretending to be your friend when they're not. It's just, I don't know, a lot of fakeness. But grew up on the web, and anonymity was getting a lot of people to do insane nasty shit. It's true. I mean, there are nasty people in general, right? People can be nasty. I like to think that people change, and that just because someone was nasty once doesn't mean that they're always going to be a nasty person. Not everyone changes, but I like to think that people are capable of change, and that, like, doing something doesn't make you that person forever. But it doesn't, there's no defense for having been a shitty person, right? All you can do is try to, as if you were that person, all you can do is try to be better, right? Which not everyone does. So I feel that, like, but I also spent a lot of time growing up on the web, and I was always very quiet and very observant. I spent a lot of time in Yahoo chat, not actually talking, just reading chat, and then eventually I became more outgoing and chatting with people and, like, actually making friends. And for a while that was like my go-to. I would go on Yahoo chat and just hang out with my friends online, right? Which is kind of funny because a lot of people were like, Yahoo chat, like, what even is that? Like, it was like AIM chat but on Yahoo, so it was anyone, not, if you didn't have AOL online or whatever, then you could do Yahoo, right? Could have something like Black Market where you can enter the glitch world. That would be cool. Honestly, I feel like that could be a game in itself. Like last night I was out with a friend that just came out, so we went to a local gay bar, or support my wife at their gigs. See, yeah, like gigs like are cool, and especially if you like know people who are involved with it, that's really cool. I think that's some of the best ways to have fun, right? To be involved in a group and like be part of something that's actually happening, rather than to just like get drunk or to like try to, you know, meet people or pick up people or whatever people do. Or, you know, a lot of it in like the club world is to just get fucked up, which is kind of fucked up, right? I don't know. Like, my local gay bar is legit one of the scariest bars I do Uber for. I didn't know you do Uber. You were lurking before lurking was a thing. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, I think a lot of people were like more active users, but I spent a lot of time just like trying to understand what I was looking at. Also, I was shy. I still am shy. I was nervous and shy and more afraid than most people of the internet, right? Because I realized that like there was this layer of anonymity where people could pretend to be what they aren't, or be, you know, a lot crappier than they appear on the surface, etc., etc. And it took me a while to open up to people, and I definitely opened up to people that turned out to be shitty, you know, but for the most part I learned like where to draw lines about like exposing myself to that kind of stuff. And I never had any real like bad like consequences for any of like the people I met, right? Like I definitely had people that I wasn't friends with that would be in the same chat room kind of thing, or people that didn't like me, but other than that, it was all pretty chill. I mean, yeah, there was one dude. Well, I assumed that they were a dude. They were just really mean to me for no reason. And like, for a while there, they were like one of the only people that was consistently online. And it just made me go to a different platform because I was sick of dealing with them. But I mean, that kind of happens, you know, these days. Like if you're in a Discord with someone that doesn't really like you, or they're mean to you or whatever, and you just spend less time in that Discord, right? Because you don't want to have to deal with them, you know, coming back. Or like Facebook is the same way. There's so many assholes on Facebook that like, who spends time on Facebook anymore, right? Because I almost feel like a lot of Facebook is just like paid assholes. Like people are paid to be mean, which is really weird. Or even bots. Bots trained to be assholes just to make people not use the platform. I don't even know. It's a weird situation. Your local gay bar gets violent. I don't even know if there are local gay bars here. I'm sure there is somewhere in the city, but I've never been. I don't go to bars though, so I know in Chicago there was like a whole gay neighborhood, which was actually the cool part of town. does that feel wrong? I feel like it should have 2 dots there. That one doesn't have any. This one's got 2. I don't know. I'll deal with that later. As one of the gays, I can assure you we have bars in most cities. I believe you, 100%. What really annoyed me with G-Bar when I was there with my friend was how overrun with straight people it was. Yeah, I have not spent enough time in the scene to understand all of that stuff. Like, I get that there's like a need for like niche spaces for sure, especially like to feel comfortable as yourself. I mean, that makes absolute sense. But I also see like the need to be like open to everyone, if that makes sense. Like, I think the rave scene is a pretty good example of like openness to everyone, right? And don't get me wrong, there's still a bunch of assholes in the rave scene and a bunch of like shit people and stuff, and it's not even that great of a scene, but the intentions are there. People are trying to be open and friendly to everyone for the most part. At least they have the appearance of trying to be that person, because that's what the scene in general is asking of them. But yeah, it's kind of the same way with the like the hippie scene, where you have like, you know, varieties of hippies. Not all of them are like the end of a 3-day music festival is a great example, because you think like, oh, this is a hippie festival, people are gonna clean up after themselves, and then you look and there's like, you could be hanging out with a hippie all week or all weekend that seems like they're like, oh, save the planet and stuff, and then you look at their campsite after they leave and all of their fucking trash is still there, you know, like, and that's kind of normal. But yeah, not everyone is who they say they are in real life or online. But people can change. Like common people, you have 15 bars for yourself. Let us have this one. I get that. OMG, yeah, it's crazy how many straight people go in, then get surprised when they get hit on by the same sex. There is no way to check at the door. I picked up a group of just 21 boys, and they just cried the whole ride how a guy asked for their number. Yeah, I mean, unless you're wearing a sign that says "Don't hit on me," like, people are gonna hit on you. I mean, it's a bar. And then they have the audacity to get angry. Yeah, that's dumb to get angry about. I mean, someone's paying you a compliment and you're angry about it. That's kind of fucked up. Don't go to a gay bar if you don't want to get hit on by the gays. Yeah. Sorry, I'm extra fire this month. No, don't apologize. Maintain your fire. Well, that looks wrong. Well, this whole row looks wrong. Whoops. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. There we go. It's just people insecure on their own sexuality. It is just the internet is where is our pride, meaning the straight one, and it's exhausting to deal with each year. I just stay home. This lesbo is tired. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. It is just the internet is where is our pride, meaning the straight ones, and it's exhausting. What happened here? Usually, yeah, I knew the most flaming homophobe before I came out, and since I was the only one with a driver's license that didn't drink, I drove the friend group home a night after the bar, and this dude, when he gets drunk, just starts dry humping the other dudes. He had some feelings unresolved. Yeah. The only time I've ever been uncomfortable was when I was giving a ride to this guy named Brian 8 years ago. I picked him up at a gay bar and he kept telling me about how he's heading to this guy's house to get used like a doll, then asked for my number. I told him no thanks, I'm already in a relationship and straight. He kept pushing, saying she doesn't have to know. Jeez. Sorry, Rick, I just mean every social media platform every June get overfilled with anti-LGBT content, and I'm fed up. Oh, okay, I didn't realize that. I don't really pay much attention to social media when it comes to like the trends of the month or whatever. I know that it's Pride Month, and like I do see like positive pride stuff, but I see that all year, which is good. I think that, you know, everyone should be allowed to be themselves. But yeah, I don't understand why people get upset about it. My mom was very much one of those people that I didn't understand. I would try to explain it to her, and she would just be like, but it's disgusting. It's like, if it's disgusting to you, then you don't have to partake. But these people need to be allowed to be, you know, happy and healthy and safe. And why not allow them to get married? Why would that be an issue? You know, like, and then it became like a religious thing, and then it was just disgusting again. It's like, well, you're not coming up with any real answers for your issue. It just sounds like you like having an issue. And I think sadly that is where a lot of the like anti gay stuff comes from, is that people like having something to complain about. And part of it is probably because they have unresolved feelings themselves, where they are maybe have had bisexual tendencies and couldn't look themselves in the face afterwards because of their conditioning, right? A lot of it comes down to conditioning on both sides of it. There's people that are conditioned to be gay, and there's people that are conditioned to be straight, and then there's people who are conditioned to not really give a shit either way, right? Like sexuality doesn't make a whole lot of difference to them. And for other people, it's really, really important. Same with gender identities. For some people, gender identity is really, really, really important. And to other people, it's like, whatever, we're all people. So, I mean, it really comes down to your upbringing a lot of times. And, yeah. Oh, Stephanie, your message was held. I'll allow it. Yeah, that is gross that guy kept pushing it on you. Unfortunately, when people get drunk, they make poor decisions sometimes. And that doesn't excuse them from it, but that is probably the reasoning behind it. They probably wouldn't do that when they're sober, but you never know. At least they weren't driving. At least they weren't driving the wrong way on the highway, which actually recently happened in this area, and also happened when I was living in Bloomington. But apparently that's a thing that people do when they get drunk, is they drive into like do not enter exit ramps and enter the highway driving the wrong way, and they don't realize it. They're like, why is everyone else driving the wrong way? This is the highway, what are you doing? And then they hit someone. They're like, oh shit, I'm dead. Anything from the benign of where is the straight pride to the more damaging to why do you exist is just the bubble of being LGBT. So the creators felt like they have to defend against it. He conditioned, now my friend, I have had straight conditioning my entire life and still lesbian. Right, but you understand conditioning, how that works. I'm not saying that everyone who's gay is conditioned to be gay. Obviously not. I'm saying that there are people on both sides, people that are conditioned to be gay and aren't basically allowed to be straight if they grow up in an only gay environment with gay parents and, you know, that kind of whole thing, right? So I'm just saying it could happen either way, right? Conditioning is just conditioning. It doesn't have an agenda. It's self-perpetuating a lot of times. Unless the conditioning is to be open, which is in fact another form of conditioning, right? So, I mean, it's not negative or positive, it just is. Although there is some conditioning that is negative and some conditioning that is positive. Conditioning as a whole it just is, right? I don't know. I guess you could look at it either way. Yeah, it's not even the worst part. The next week I picked up the same guy from some house where he didn't get laid. He was pissed, so he kept trying to convince me to let him give me roadhead. Like, nah, got him banned from Uber. Wow, yeah. I mean, that's pretty bad. That never happens. I'm not sure what that's in context to. Yeah, I'll never understand the anti-gay pride movement. What the fuck do you care what others do with their life? Yeah, I agree. I think that like trying to get other people to follow your beliefs is one of the most ridiculous things you can do. And then almost as ridiculous is to have beliefs that are shit like that, right? Like only people who think this way are allowed into the afterlife or something like that. Like that is just ridiculous. Like if you don't believe in God, you're going to hell. Like that's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Like the idea of a hell is pretty ridiculous in itself. But to be like, well, you better shape up your beliefs because you know where that's gonna get you in the end. It's like, I mean, people were, you know, have been ruled by fear for a long time. But I mean, to perpetuate that is kind of ridiculous this day and age. I mean, we're smart enough to get past that these days. And I'm not saying, you know, you should be a shitty person by any means. I think everyone should be, you know, as good of a person as they can be. But you shouldn't have to rely on heaven or hell to make you a good person. Like if God doesn't exist and you become a shitty person because of it, like that's on you, not on God. That's not on religion. That's on you being a not good person because you need something to keep you in line, right? Like I don't know. I get why religion exists, why it began. But organized religion has always seemed kind of ridiculous to me. I get having a spiritual like connection, like on an individual level. That makes sense to me. But forcing other people to have the same spiritual connection as you does not make sense to me at all. That's like the opposite of what spirituality is, right? Yeah, hell makes no sense to me. It's run by the guy who fought against God, so why would that guy punish the people who went against God? Pretty sure that means they were, in fact, a bad person. Exactly, right? If you rely on God to keep you from being a bad person, like, you got some issues, right? And I get it, everyone has issues, but if you never, like, look at them, you know, if you never look at yourself like in a deeply personal way and try to figure out how you can better yourself, you're never going to get better. And if your excuse is that, well, God made me this way, or like you know, like I repent my sins so therefore I'm cleansed and I can do that over and over again, like it's all like loopholes into allowing yourself to be shitty. The fact is that if you are shitty, you should feel bad about it. And eventually, hopefully feeling bad about it causes you to become better. And you may, you know, find something else that you feel bad about, because no one's perfect. And as a human, you'll continue to make mistakes. That's just the way life is. And it shouldn't get you down. You should continue to try to become a better person. You should always be trying to be the best person you can. But sexuality really has nothing to do with that, right? I mean, as long as it's like consenting adults, right? Like, it's ridiculous to like I don't know. Yeah, I think about the arguments I had with my mom a lot about it. I mean, she definitely had strong viewpoints on the stuff for really no good reason. She would be like, oh, well, your nieces and nephews, it's like, you don't even live in the same world that they live in. You have no idea what high school is going to be like for them, right? I mean, she had no idea what high school was like for me, right? Like, I had gay friends in high school. It was normalized for the most part. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was still scary for them because there were people, I mean, I lived out in the country. There were football players and shit like that who were probably gay themselves, but would beat up gay people just for being gay. Hey, I used to get beat up just for being a freak, you know, like, just for not fitting in, just for not being normal, you know. They'd call you gothic or whatever, right? They used to call us the trench coat mafia because that was like a thing at the time, right? It's anything they don't understand, they're afraid of, right? And I think that's a like, that's a product of living life out of fear, right? And if your conditioning is to fear God and that keeps you on the straight and narrow, then you're going to fear anything that you don't understand. Because I'm not saying this is all Christians or all religious people, but when you have a religious document or doctrine, some type of text that's telling you what's right and what's wrong, you're kind of fucked. Because most religions, most organized religions, teach you not to think for yourself. But the reality is, I mean, even Christianity, if you look at like what we know about Jesus or whatever, if he even existed as a person, is that he would have been teaching people to think for themselves, because that's what he did. He wanted you to live in his image, right, or whatever. But really what that means is that he felt that he was God, because God is in all of us, and that you have the ability to think for yourself. You have the ability to make judgment calls yourself. And it all gets like screwed up through all these translations and like, I mean, this text is thousands of years old now. So like, it's all screwed up. Sorry, just finished my tea. I heard once that religion was attracting a certain personality because it gave them an out for their shitty behavior. Either justify with the holy text to be shitty or use repent system to get out of taking responsibility for it. Absolutely. I agree 100%. Especially Christianity, like Catholicism falls into that category. The most religious people in my life are also the same people that judge and hate the most. It's true. Trenchcoat Mafia is a sick name though, although it sucks what it comes from. I mean, we did wear trench coats, but not because of the Trenchcoat Mafia, just because they're cool coats. I have a trench coat winter jacket or winter coat today. Like, there's nothing wrong with covering your legs from the wind. But yeah, like the whole shit's fucked up, right? Like school shootings and shit, that's totally fucked up. Like we weren't going to ever be that type of people. Like, we were outsiders and we understood each other, and honestly we had probably a better understanding of how the world worked than most of the people that made fun of us, because those people were just locked into their own patterns of and how they thought the world should be, and all of that was mostly conditioning from their parents. And the inability to think for themselves about what was actually, you know, worth fighting over, or what was actually, you know, against their own beliefs, or, you know, like weird shit like that, right? I mean, like, nobody wants, well, I don't know, this is a weird thing because like society's so fucked up today, but you would think that everyone wants to be free, at least to a certain degree, like to have a certain degree of freedom, right? But when you force other people to fit into your version of what everyone should be, that's not freedom anymore. So like, why would you do that if you wanted to be free yourself, right? But then we end up with the way the US is today, where there's like fucking fascism basically evolving in the government, which is fucked up, right? Because it's basically a whole bunch of people being brainwashed into thinking that what they want isn't freedom. What they want is to be controlled. And it's so fucked up here because it's the people that have been fighting to be free that are like agreeing with this. They'll be like, less regulation, less regulation. But what that means is that the corporations can control you because they're not regulated. They're like, well, we don't want to be regulated. Well, they're gonna regulate you, buddy, because you just gave the people who have money no regulation. The people who don't have money are still gonna be regulated. That's just the way it works. It's fucked up. I had a trench coat as a teenager. Yeah, there's definitely nothing wrong with trench coats. Just because those people were sick and twisted and happened to be wearing trench coats, that's like, that doesn't make it a bad thing, right? It took until I was in college before that association was brought up. Less regulation for me and not for you. So I don't think there should be, honestly, I think basically what you just said, but where do you draw the line, right? So I mean, like, to me it seems like corporations, like, the bigger they are, the more regulation they should have. The smaller the corporation, the less it should have. That just makes sense to me, right? So like a small business, you know, a sole proprietor who doesn't even bring in 100,000 a year, why should they have like the same amount of regulation as a big multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, you know, who has the resources to carry out the regulation and should be regulated because they're fucking stripping the economy, stripping the ecology, stripping sociology. I mean, there's social engineering and all there. I mean, like, the world is getting fucked up by big, massive corporations. Splitting them into smaller corporations isn't the answer, but allowing smaller mom and pop places to exist is definitely a good thing, right? But yeah, honestly, no matter what, the people that have that enormous amount of power right now are going to figure out some loophole because they already have too much power. And there's really no fixing it, unfortunately, at least that I can think of, other than like refreshing and starting everything anew, which would mean catastrophe for everyone, which isn't what anyone wants, right? So I don't even know. The whole situation is pretty bleak. Hell, I still wear a double-breasted long coat and have a duster for cowboy shooting. Yeah, dusters are super cool. One of my buddies in high school had a duster. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Also, say if you don't hurt no one, why do we really care what you do? Exactly. Also, Rick, thanks for the morning chat. I'm gonna get ready for working on Empire Steam. Yeah, have an awesome morning. And thank you for being part of the chat also. Hope your day goes amazing. I will admit I watched too much Hellsing and bought that duster. for cosplay. Right on, right on. Dusters are cool coats. My friend let me borrow his, and I loved it. I thought it was so cool. Always a joy. Yeah, unfortunately, I hold no faith in either party. Wish we had more viable options. I agree. We need more dusters. Like, I definitely lean left as far as my politics. But do I think that all Democrats are good people? No, I don't. I think that there's bad people on either side. And pretty much anyone looking for political power is kind of a bad person to have in office, right? Like when I was doing management, we need more dusters. Like, it's my winter coat. I found a black one in cotton. Right on. Yeah, no, I have a black cotton trench coat. But it's not a duster. It's just a regular. It's kind of fancy. You could wear it at like a fancy outdoor event or something. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, like when I was in management, I was learning about management because that was the first time I ever done any form of team management. And one of the things that I learned right away was that the best managers aren't shooting for management positions. The best managers feel like they have to do it to be the best option for the people to be managed. And if you look at politics, the best political leaders we had did not shoot to be political leaders. They were trying to make a difference in the world. Like, Lincoln was a lawyer, right? Like, he wasn't trying to become a politician until it seemed like he was like a good option compared to the other options, kind of thing. I don't know all that much about Lincoln, to be honest. But that's the way I see it, is that if a politician is like spending his life to become a politician, to have this power and dreams of power and like spends all this money to become powerful, like that's a pretty big red flag, right? And then you have other people like Bernie Sanders, for example, where like I think that a lot of what he says is very smart and realistic, and like, you know, he should have been in power, but they just wouldn't let him for whatever reason, right? There was, you know, political fuckery that prevented that. So I don't know. The whole thing's pretty fucked up. If there's a good candidate, they're gonna make sure that he doesn't get into power. Some Democrats in office right now has done some with awful shit, and I all the way over in Scandinavia. Yeah, for sure. Clear for the world to see. Yup. I'm a libertarian, more centered than anything. With how much the overton window has shifted, a libertarian is left now just because the right is so much to the right. Honestly, don't like Bernie. Take care, friends. Yeah, take care, Stephanie. I like Bernie, but I mean, he's pretty old at this point, so not really an option. There really are no options. Like, the idea of like upcoming elections is just scary to me. Like fucking Trump's son. Like, I could see him fucking trying to change the Constitution to let fucking his wife become a president. I mean, she wouldn't win, but I could see him trying. I don't know. I'm not really trying to get on a political tangent. I don't have a problem talking about politics, but it's not a fun topic. Legitimately none. It's all pre-selected individuals, so we have an illusion of choice. Exactly. You know, I think I said it best when I was in civics class in junior high, when I learned about the Electoral College and how, like, voting works and, you know, civic stuff. And I said, like, this system is clearly broken and we need a new system. And the teacher was like, you're just an anarchist, because I listened to, like, punk music and stuff. And, like, it's like, no, I'm not. I'm just reading between the lines, and it's obvious that this is fucked up. Like, you know, like, there's, I don't know, it's made in a way that makes it really hard to fix. It was done this way on purpose. That was the plan from the get-go. What was it, Thomas Jefferson, who said, and I believe he was a Republican, but being a Republican back in the day was different than what it is now. They're very different things. But anyways, he said that, like, there needed to be a revolution every so often. I can't remember how many years, every 15 years or something like that, in order to keep things, like, you know, in check, to keep things sane. And I agree with that, except that, like, it's been so long now that, like, I don't know if that would even fix anything at this point. Like, I don't mean to sound like a defeatist, but it's just really hard to come up with a solution. Just need new parties with younger people. I mean, eventually things are going to change. Younger people will become empowered, but, like, right now we've got, like, a fucking 80-year-old president or some shit, like, which is kind of unheard of, right? So, as much as, like, new people are becoming different, the older people are staying in office longer. And then also, man, I mean, it's so weird. When I was young, I thought everyone kind of thought the same way as me. And it wasn't just because I thought that, it's because that people generally didn't know how they felt politically, and they just kind of went by what was, you know, right or wrong in their mind, which was kind of universal when we were young. Like, I mean, I'm not claiming to know what everyone else thought was right or wrong, but, like, most people had an idea of what was right and what was wrong. And then the older we all got, the more those ideas changed, and the more we were influenced by either our parents or our upbringing or our society, our communities. And I watched a lot of my friends turn into Trump supporters. Like, people that, like, you know, we're okay with gay people, that we're okay with transsexuals and, like, all of that stuff, just, like, become less and less okay with that stuff because their society made it seem like that was what they should do. And, you know, it's messed up. I myself lived in a bunch of different communities growing up, so I got to sample a variety of things, which allowed me to, at an early age, learn how to think for myself. And not everyone got that opportunity. Some of these people, they had to live and work in the same area their whole lives and deal with the same rhetoric all day, every day, and it changed them, you know? I think it was 2016, there was a party called the Forward Party. I donated something like $20 to them. I think it changed from the influence from local feelings to the whole world. I mean, social media definitely had an impact on that. But it depends on that, you know, what sampling you're looking at, right? A lot of like rural communities and stuff, they're still very local based. I feel like the more you get into like the rural communities, you end up with people who think that they're better than everyone, or that their way is the right way, and that and because they're so like removed from congested populations, they don't understand that there's like a collective, like, you know, understanding that can occur when you have to live that close to your neighbor, right? If you live in Chicago, you're going to meet people from all over the world on any given day. Like literally people who just flew in from another country on any given day. And so if you're like, you know, taught to hate Muslims or anything, like whatever it is, you have to deal with that, because there are going to be whatever it is you're you know, trained or conditioned to despise or whatever, or to hate or whatever. So like if you live out in the country, and like when I lived in Coal City in Illinois, there was a lot of I don't know if I'd call it hatred, but just like very strong bias against black people, because there was like one black kid at our school, and the things that they called him was terrible, like absolutely terrible. And it was accepted by almost everyone, and it was sad to watch that, because I came from Naperville, where the black kids were treated the exact same as the white kids, and it was only like 40 minutes away. It just felt so backwards and wrong. But we were exposed to that every day. I had friends that were black in Naperville, and like in Coal City, I had one friend that was black in Coal City, because that was the only black person in Coal City. And I understand why black people wouldn't want to move to a city like that. It makes sense. Why would you, right? If people are going to mistreat you, it's fucking crazy. More voices and lots of bots and echo chambers. Oh, online, yeah. 2016 really fucking changed all of the political social media stuff. It was like night and day, like a light switched. I think it was like right when Trump became president that like all of a sudden a floodgate opened on social media, where it was all just divisive like engineering, right? And I'm sure it was happening before that, but around that time, that's like all it was. And I'm sure that had an impact. And honestly, everything leading up to that probably had an impact too. Like Trump becoming a meme in 2014. It was funny for both sides, but it was helping one side a lot more than the other, because making fun of Trump still is promoting Trump. And like a lot of the jokes went over people's heads, so they weren't even seeing the joke, they were just seeing the promotion aspect of it. So it's like, I don't know, a lot of that shit was planned, I think. That's not even what I want, is it? Or is it? Oh yeah, because this one goes here. It's hard to say anymore, so I just live my life how I like to. Yeah, no, I agree. I think most people have kind of taken that stance. You can't spend your life worrying about the things that you can't change. So yeah, I've been getting back into streaming more. I think that I'm on the right track to be more productive again. I've been kind of slacking. I have like a bunch of YouTube stuff that I wanted to do that I never finished. Some of it is like done and just not uploaded. Some of it is just not finished. And then like I started doing some retro Spaceball stuff, but I didn't really stick with it, so I want to get back into that. I don't know. There's a lot of things that I want to get back into. It's funny though, because I'm more centered with some right-leaning beliefs at family gatherings. They try to debate me on politics as if I'm a Trumpy. Had to remind them that I voted independent. They're 100% left. Yeah, I noticed you weren't streaming much. I just assumed you were busy. That's interesting that you have that upbringing. Mine was very different. Mine is the opposite, where both of my parents are Republican. Well, my mom is no longer with us. You know, it's weird because she was Democratic when I was growing up. She voted for Bill Clinton twice. And my dad, you know, voted for Bush, for all of the Bushes. And you know, it's funny because the last time I spoke to my dad, he said to me, you know, I'm a Democrat at heart. That's what he said to me. I was like, but you vote for Trump. He's like, but I'm a Democrat at heart. Like, yeah, like I still get along with my dad. We don't talk all the time or anything like that, but I don't know. I feel like he was kind of raised to not be that way, because his dad died when his dad was like 50 or something, early 50s. So he didn't when he was 40, his dad wasn't there, right? So I feel like that's part of it. But yeah, something happened where my mom just kind of flipped and became completely Republican. She started going to church. When she was eventually she was diagnosed with cancer, and that made it worse because she started going to church all the time, and like religion became like a big part of her existence. And I feel like churches are kind of bad for policy, because they kind of lump everything together. They try to get everyone to vote the same way, the way that the church believes they should vote. And like, I mean, it got so bad that when I was, at the memorial service at the church, her husband's brother mentioned that she voted Trump, like at the altar, like as part of his speech, wearing a Trump shirt at her memorial. Got up on stage, and the guy didn't even realize that she used to be a Democrat. She was a Democrat for most of her life. That really fucking bothered me, right? Because like, why do that? Why bring politics into something like that? It's disgusting. Exactly. It was disgusting to see this guy do that. And he felt good about it. He was like smirking about it. But yeah, like her husband was kind of an asshole too from time to time about things. Like I remember when I graduated college, my best friend wanted to be there, so he traveled with me and my folks to the city, because I went to school in the city. And he was there, and he was, I took pictures with him and stuff, and I was very grateful to have a friend at my graduation that was really supportive of him. He spent his day, watching me graduate. And then afterwards we went out to dinner together with my family and my friend, and my mom's husband made a gay joke like he was my boyfriend, and like it's just uncalled for, right? But yeah, I definitely don't regret him going to my graduation because of that. I mean, eventually, unfortunately, that friend passed away. So like, him having been there is like huge to me. Probably fix the coloration on this. But yeah, I haven't been streaming as much. I've just been in a funk. Can't really put my finger on it, but I'm trying to fix it. Honestly, I feel like, in a way, I'm still, like, grieving over the loss of my mother from last year. And, the client that I've been working for like the last 5 years or whatever had like slowed down in work a lot, and at one point he basically said like, we're gonna take a break from doing any work for a while. Recently I just had excuse me, he just offered me some more work last week, so I did that, and that was cool. But it was kind of a big blow for him to just be like, oh yeah, like, well, first of all, he didn't really like the project that I had done, and that one got scrapped, and then he's like, oh, we're not gonna work with you anymore for a bit. And that was a pretty big blow, because that was like my main client. And I don't know, I guess I grew a little bit reliant on them when maybe I shouldn't have. I should have probably been looking for more clients and stuff. But I don't know, it's kind of my own fault. But you know, dealing with my mom, like, first of all, just like the whole thing, like moving out there, helping her through the whole cancer thing, and then moving to Naperville to be with her, and then moving out here and dealing with her death and like all that stuff. Like, I was kind of happy to not have a whole lot of work, and now it's like I kind of need more work. And then for him to like step back a bit on that was not really what I was expecting or hoping for. And then also, like, Pyrotoad's sales were really not great, and like that kind of hurt too. You know, it kind of it's still tough to think about, right? Like, you spend a whole year working on a game and you only make, like, I don't even know, not even $2,000 off of it. Like, that sucks. But I mean, it could always be worse. And I enjoyed the project. I enjoyed working with Giant Manjiro, obviously, and like, the whole thing was good other than the sales. So I don't know, I learned a lot, I had fun. And you can't just expect a Game Boy game on Steam to, like, you know, pay all the bills. That's just kind of ridiculous thinking. But it would have been nice if it made, like, I don't know, a couple more grand. Yeah, gig work be like that. Yeah, so true. So this map is done. I think it's a good time to switch gears to do something else. I was kind of neglecting my drug dealer game, which was a lot of fun to make. This one. So this project, it's got dynamic inventory and pricing, and deaths. So all dynamic menus was kind of like my goal with this, and they work, but I wanted there to be 16 different drugs, and there's only 3 different drugs and 3 different dealers. Honestly, why I don't try to put all of my eggs in dev work. I get several projects I'm doing. Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, I'm a generalist, so I do a little bit of everything. In fact, most of the client work that I've gotten in the last 5 years has been doing custom mods, which is not really development work, but adjacent, right? But yeah, I'm an artist, you know, pixel art. I do get pixel art commissions every once in a while. Usually not a whole lot of money, but fun work. Honestly, oh yeah, I read that. It moved. But yeah, I mean, I do a little bit of everything. I kind of want to get more into making assets and selling those. But yeah, I usually end up wanting to make stuff for my own game and not wanting it to be on the asset store, because I don't want it to look like I'm just, you know, asset flipping or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's the wrong attitude. I feel like you could probably make a game and then sell the assets and it would be okay, but I don't know. So I haven't played this in a while. I might as well hit play and see what the build is like. Kind of reacquaint myself with this project. All right. I would love to hire you for music someday. Maybe once I save enough for this third baby. With wife being out of work for 4 months, I'll need to make $10,000. Yeah, I mean, kids are expensive. I totally get that. Yeah, I'd love to do more music, to be honest. I think about that a lot, actually. Like, I used to be a musician. Like, what the hell happened? Like, I used to spend my time making music and stuff. And to be honest, I feel like a lot of the reason why I don't make as much music as I used to on a personal level, I mean, I still make some, but I'm just like not getting like into like full productions as much. I've been like recording riffs and like little things like that. But honestly, I used to smoke a lot of weed, like every day, and that was one of the things that I would do. I would get stoned and just make music, and I got really good at it. So I would just get stoned, not even have an idea beforehand, sit down, make a piece within 40 minutes, and it would be like a full piece. Sometimes I'd have to go back and, you know, make some adjustments, render it another day or something like that. But usually by the end of it, I was actually really good. Like in 2023, I was just pumping them out. In fact, a lot of the soundtrack that is on the stream is from that era where I was just like smoking lots of weed, making lots of music. And now that I quit smoking weed, it's just, it's not, the inspiration isn't there for me anymore. It's not as fun. It doesn't come as easy. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of this Game Boy music, like the stuff we're listening to right now, I wasn't stoned for, and it came fairly easy and it was fun. But there was like a goal or whatever, right? Like a reason for it, right? Like, oh, you need, this game is, you know, needs music, so like this was part of the game jam. So like I didn't even think, just do it. Actually, I think I was smoking weed for this one, now that I think about it. Because this was the earlier part of the soundtrack. But anyways, I think I need to start smoking weed again. I think that needs to happen. It's just expensive. I think what I need to do is get a medical card, which is expensive, and start growing it, which is also expensive. But it's like an expense you only have to pay like once, right? For the grow light. Grow lights are not cheap. Spend $1,000 on a grow light, right? And then seeds aren't super cheap either, but they kind of pay for themselves as far as like not having to buy weed. Because weed is pretty expensive. Oh, I got the cop in here, that's right. So it might be cool to see how much health you have. And it'd be cool to throw you in jail. Also, after you get arrested, there should be a cooldown for the cop. In a hospital for when you die. So this is cool. You can see the different prices in the different areas. So like weed is $8 in the city. The city is the same price as the suburbs right now, but the park, everything's a bit more expensive in the park. And I made a bedroom where if you sleep, the prices change. So yeah, weed went up in price, MDMA went down in price, H went down in price. Weed is super cheap in the park now. And also kind of cheap in the city. It was 8 before. So if I go to the park, I would hate having to rely on a substance to get those juices going, but I get it. Well, it's not like I rely on it. Like I get by without it, but I was a lot more musically productive when I was stoned. That's for sure. Like I could still make music, but the inspiration and the motivation is like way down. Like I have all of these like pieces that I've been working on, and like that's fun and enjoyable because it's easy. I can just hit record on my phone, grab an instrument and play, and that does it for me. That's good. But if I was smoking weed, I would be like, that's not good enough. This needs to be an album. You know what I mean? And then I would like put it together and actually make an album rather than just a bunch of pieces. Which, like, I don't know. I like recording stuff. I like just, you know, noodling and coming up with ideas. But I also like having a finished thing, right? I don't know. When I'm smoking weed, I don't think about the logistics of it. Like, I think about what's fun or what's enjoyable or like, I just do it, right? When I'm sober, I think about like, maybe I should be better spending my time doing something that will make more money. Maybe like instead of making an album, I should be working on game music, right? Like maybe instead of working on personal projects, I should be only doing stuff for other people that makes me money. But when I'm stoned, it's just like, this song needs to come out of me right now, and then it comes out of me, and like, I don't know, it's kind of a good feeling to be able to just like get this thing that's inside of you out, and like, and to be able to do it just like that, and to be pleased with the results. I know a lot of people who don't smoke weed think that you just like it because you're high. But the reality is that like, if you get good at something, it doesn't matter if you're high or not, right? I made some really good music when I was super stoned. That's how it goes. Don't get me wrong, I made some music that sucks. I was listening to it yesterday. I was going back and listening to my old music, and there's definitely some tracks that I didn't put online that were not good. Or songs that didn't make it into games that were supposed to be made for games. And then on the other hand, there's songs that were very experimental that are interesting to listen to, but not something I would like subject the world to or like put on an album. I don't know. I feel like if you spend a long time enjoying cannabis, it's different than if you don't, right? Because if you just pick it up once and you try it, it feels very different and hard to relate to, and maybe, you know, novel and funny or relaxing or whatever, but you don't feel like you've accomplished anything. But when you smoked it every weed for like 20 years, every day for like 20 years, and it has no effect on your ability to accomplish things, or it doesn't slow you down, it doesn't hinder you, like, I don't know. Not having it can kind of hinder you, if that makes sense. I don't know, you just kind of have to like, oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, he's trying to buy weed. Who's selling weed? This guy? Yeah. Oh wait, pay off my debts? No. I used to get high often with my vape pen and dummies. Wait, what's a dummy? Oh, you mean gummies. I got you. I got 10 bucks. Now I gotta pay off my debts. Wait, before I do that, we should look at the menu here. I owe that guy $2. So I don't know how to fix that. Could make all the sprites disappear, but then yeah. So I think I can buy 4. I just got to the point in my life where alcohol and weed feel pointless and meaningless. I feel that way about alcohol for sure. I never quite felt like weed was pointless or meaningless. But I also like, I feel like I did it differently than most people. I think a lot of people, they use it as like getting fucked up and relaxing, right? Or like not doing anything, where for me, on the other hand, I would use it as like a tool to do things. Like I'm a creative person regardless of whether I smoke weed or not, but if you smoke weed after not smoking weed for a while, man, for me, the ideas are just like, it's like an overflow of ideas. Like I just have to like get a notebook and just like write down ideas, because like all of these ideas come to me like crazy. Some of them are really good ideas, some of them not so good. It's the way it is with any ideas, right? But like I have to like sometimes prevent myself from like getting caught up in like trying to do all these things and just writing them down, because like I'll get so excited for these ideas and then I'll be like, wait, but I'm actually making music right now, so if I switch to game design, like I'll just write that design down, and then I end up with all of these ideas which I still have and can still go back to, and they're still actually really interesting to just read sometimes, or to work on or whatever. So I feel like there should be a limit of how many times you can buy from the same person or something. Or or how much they have. That makes more sense, right? Because otherwise I can just keep going and buying from the same person and selling from the same person. Also, like, the buyers should have a certain amount of money that they have also. Otherwise I can just keep going, not even progress the day, and just keep selling weed to this guy. Oh, I've got 200 bucks. Also, there should probably be a limit of how much stuff you can carry. Whoops, hit the wrong button. I can't remember where the city is, to be honest. Oh, I think I have to go down to the right. I've got $1,000. It's interesting that it blacks out the other stuff and then fills it in. So I guess I should probably write down some of these thoughts that I'm having on this game. I already did this. So buyers should have limited cash. Sellers should have limited inventory. Player should have limited inventory. RIP code dev lost his internet. Oh no. How lost? Like it's gone? Like he can't find it? Or it just went off for the moment? I'm thinking that time should progress somehow, but I don't know the best way to do it. Like, maybe you can only transition between areas like 4 or 5 times before the day changes automatically. I don't know. I'm probably not actually gonna do anything today. I'm already starting to get hungry. I know I said I'd go for about 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours, but might end sooner than later here. I'll probably jump back on after I eat though. Maybe like take a shower, relax for a bit, and then come back on before bedtime, which yesterday I went to bed at like 1 p.m., 2 p.m. So probably go to bed around 3 or 4 p.m. I have a feeling I'm gonna sleep through Saturday night collab with Indiana Crones. If that's even, like, he's been playing a lot of games that I don't have. Like, he's been playing the Far West, I think it's called. Which I always think Wild West. I feel like that's what they were gonna name it. How about instead of, like, they probably were calling it that, and then we're like, how about Far West? Ah, there we go. But yeah, maybe he wants to play Jump Space, but I'm probably gonna be asleep. And then I'll probably stream more of this, because there's like 8 levels. I'm only at level 4, so yeah. So having things to spend money on would be good. So maybe like a shop. And I'll probably have to think about that. I'm thinking like characters will probably sell you this stuff, but maybe they have a shop, or maybe they move around. Maybe it's like a random encounter, like you can only get, you know, the higher level guns if you happen to come across them or something like that and have the money. So RNG. RNG encounters. More places to sleep. That cost money. Oh, and a bank, right? You need a bank. Maybe an ATM machines. I feel like a phone would be cool, but also it's like kind of scope creepish. You couldn't afford to pay anymore. Oh geez. Could also make it time dependent, like late night equals higher chance. Yeah, I was thinking like a day night cycle, but then I'm like, man, that's like some scope creep right there. Right, as cool as that would be, like to have like time progress and like the day and night thing. And I have done time progression in a Game Boy game before in Fetch Quest. I made it so time progresses and there's like a daytime and a nighttime kind of thing, even though it's just a clock in the game. Doing something like that for this could be exponentially challenging, right? Because if I change the art to represent it, then I gotta do it for each level, and the levels aren't even done yet, and they're big levels. And then I'd have to like basically program the night time to be different than the daytime. Yeah, that would be cool, but I mean, that we're talking about like that would make the game substantially bigger then. I don't know. We'll write that down, but I probably won't implement it. Fair enough. Yeah. Also, the game needs more drugs. Slash dealers slash buyers. But honestly, I should probably figure out the the limitations before I start copy and pasting stuff some more, because I've already got them copy pasted a few times. That means I'll have to go in and make those adjustments to each one. Yeah. I could probably use prefabs to make things a little bit easier, but I'd have to also like go in and change a whole bunch of shit for each prefab. Yeah. More zones, obviously, because right now there's only 3. What sucks, my game is right on the edge for demo and playtest, but because Codev lost internet, I don't know when it will be out. Well, that really sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully he gets it again soon. He's working on the audio system. Yeah, that's rough because you know, when you're working on a what do they call it? When you got it on like a Git, and like if one person works too much on it, then all of a sudden it's hard to merge. That becomes an issue, right? How far does he live from you? Because maybe you could have him come over to your place and merge every once in a while or whatever, you know? Or tell him to go to a coffee shop. You pay for a virtual machine server to host our files because fuck GitHub. Oh wow. 2-hour drive and his plates are expired. Oh jeez. Yeah, 2 hours is pretty far. It's even further with expired plates. How do you get around with expired plates though? Well, that sucks, man. So I feel like the weapons should be a progression. Like, you can only buy the best gun after you have the second to best gun, kind of thing. I think that would help keep the simplicity and the scope down. Because being able to choose your weapon is unnecessary, because the best weapon's always going to be the right choice. If I make enough Ubering tonight, I'll probably send them over some money. Are you still working at the print shop? But I'm sure he'll be very grateful. It's going through a rough time. That sounds like it. Definitely sounds like it. You work 2 jobs. Right on. I know what that's like. It's been a while, but I used to work 2 or 3 jobs. Well, I think it might be time to wind down, get some food in me, relax for a bit, and then like I said, I'll probably be back later. Maybe around 7 or so a.m. I don't know. However long it takes me to shower, eat, relax, and hop back on. Yeah, he graduated, so he's looking for a job, but it's just him and his 2 kids. Oh yeah, that's rough. Kids are so expensive. I can't even imagine like all the costs associated with that. Well, I hope he finds something soon. College is... I found college to be rough because, like, right after college, it made me... They, like, lie to you. They're like, oh, you're gonna make this much money out of college. And then you get out of college and it's really hard to find any job, let alone a job that pays as much as they told you that you were gonna make. Which you feel entitled to a little bit after college because you did all that work to graduate and it was tough and you deserve it. And then you end up, you know, like me working at a fucking pizza place and making, you know, just as much as you did or you would have if you didn't go to college, or even less because of inflation, right? And like, I don't know, the whole thing is rough because it's really hard to bite the bullet and get a shitty job while you look for a good job. But that's the answer. You kind of have to get a shitty job while you look for a good job, and it's really hard when you got kids because you gotta have the time to take care of them, and a lot of shitty jobs, they don't give a shit about your time. Yeah, I don't know. You got free college at least. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because college is so fucking expensive. Well, I hope him and you the best. I wish you good luck on that. I think I'm going to raid Stephanie Knight, making her Steam game, her Steam Empire Steam, her train game. I need to get some food in me. Oh, she's dev also? Nice. Yeah. She's a Godot dev. Making a voxel train game. Kind of like a train tycoon game. She's kind of new to streaming. She hasn't been doing it too long. But, yeah. Got a raid message. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, Cryptic. I really appreciate it. I hope that your night goes well Ubering, and hope everything's safe and you don't get insane people. But yeah, I also hope that your friend has things work out for him and that your project gets a demo out soon. But yeah, I really appreciate you hanging out. It's been fun. It's always cool when you start a stream at like 2 or 3 in the morning and one of your friends is there, right? That's pretty awesome. But yeah, we're gonna raid Stephanie. She's super cool, super supportive, and go say hi. Thanks again, everyone. Take care. Have a good night. Bye.